All right, welcome to week 32 of the Designorama, the weekly design challenges and daily design challenges. We're focusing, for the past handful of weeks, we've been focused on a lot of UI work, and there'll be a little bit of that this week. But we're really focusing on Agile design practices or designing in Agile. And really, this just comes down to how you collaborate with Agile teams. If you're integrated very well, it will just feel like a group of people coming closer to shared understanding and doing something with that shared understanding. And you'll see sort of the dissolving of boundaries between role, and it's really just the application of skills and a collaborative push forward. This does its best to sort of simulate a path through it, and for that reason, these are tough to achieve as daily tasks, especially maybe the latter handful of challenges may be challenging as individual tasks. It may be best to complete this as a week. And it's just because to complete the tail end ones, days 3, 4, and 5, you'll effectively have to do day 1 and 2 anyway, just as a part of the process. And, the one exception for that may be that you have something in front of you already that you're ready to complete some of these tasks with, and then you don't have to complete the first 2 steps. And you'll see that as we open up sort of an understanding of what day 1 through 5 looks like. There are a handful of resources this week. One of them is the Agile Methods for UX course with IXTF. 20-hour course. If you're familiar with Agile or you're familiar with the methodologies, you can certainly get through this a little more quickly, but I think overall it's just a really excellent course with a lot of familiar faces from the industry talking to their specific areas of expertise and giving you really great understanding of how UX and UXR and other members of Agile teams integrate and achieve things, and a solid understanding of what Agile is and what it's not, and sort of the many flavors that it shows up as in the world. And I think it does dive a little bit into sort of the purity of Agile too. So sort of the foundation of it and what it looks like in the core practice, as well as what it looks like when it's integrated, or it has been integrated into bigger corporations like SAFe or Scrum or any of those. There's a topic on continuous discovery, just how you take UXR and integrate it into an Agile environment. Have an article here on vertical and horizontal slicing, something you'll be doing this week, and then something here just on how to write a user story. And use whatever resource you want to help grow your understanding of writing user stories. The only thing I would say is look for one that is sort of framed like this and then provides a good explanation for it, that it has the 3 parts: as this type of user, what they're trying to achieve, and then the reason for it. And try to make it so the reason isn't simply because I want it. Give the actual foundation for why they need to do the thing. So very quickly, day 1 is writing a user story. So pick a feature in a product or app and write a user story. Pick something that seems interesting, something that is slightly on the complex side, so that you can, on day 2, sketch it fairly quickly, and then on day 3, do some feature slicing. So take that feature and break it into multiple vertical slices that can be delivered quickly in a way that creates additional value for the customer or the user that's fully usable, without necessarily delivering the entire feature all at once. And so in day 1, you want to pick a feature that improves the software or overhauls an aspect of the software with improvements that is big enough to slice, but not so big that it's effectively the whole piece of software itself. So on day 1, you'll be writing a user story for it. As a user, I want this aspect of the software to exist so that I can achieve this goal of mine. Day 2 will be just very rapidly sketching out what it's going to look like, what the core features will be within that feature, the core interactions, the things the user is going to try to achieve. And again, try to make it multifaceted. So if it's a list of products and it includes a search and a filter, maybe that's enough. Maybe there are quick action buttons, things of that nature, but make it big enough that it has multiple things that someone can do, but not so big that it becomes cumbersome. Day 3 will be feature slicing. So how can we take this and break it into smaller chunks that are deliverable on their own? And in this area, it may be even good to go so far as to prioritize those. Which of these are dependent on others? Which would make sense to develop first? And this could be dependent from a technology perspective, but a lot of times it's going to be dependent from a user perspective. So you may create a list of things and a search with a filter, and it doesn't make any sense to build the search and the filter without the list of things. The list of things will be your initial delivery. And you can even break it down into something smaller, but just as an example. On day 4, create a refined sketch of that first slice. So after you've prioritized your slices, pick that first slice and create a very refined sketch of it and how it exists in the experience without everything else. So this would be something that you would use to communicate to your team to say, hey, this is very exactly what I think this should look like, and this should support you in your next push to deliver something. And then day 5 is creating a continuous discovery guide. This is a fairly big task, and you certainly don't need to accomplish the whole thing, but it may be an important thing to do because thinking sort of far and near, long and short on your discussion guide is an important thing to do when you're doing continuous discovery. You may have weekly sessions where you just have a random small number of users available, and you jump in and you process this whole thing. And you'll be thinking about long-term solutions, mid-term solutions. Maybe the prototype, like where this comes in this week, is the prototype that you have this week that you just produced the slice of, and then the previous release you may be following up and running some usability testing on the thing that the development just delivered. And so you can see how this is sort of a continuous flow through an agile process of taking an idea, something that a user needs, looking at what it might actually look like in the product, what the interactions may look like, what the controls may look like, what the features may look like, breaking it down into smaller chunks, giving a refined sketch of that smaller chunk, and then how you will evaluate it with the user while also capturing additional intel from them about what the product may look like far off in the future, in the midterm with the next sprint, and how successful you were on the previous sprint. Really fun exercise here. If you've never done this, it's going to stretch your muscles a little bit, and just know that if it's difficult, it's a path to growth. The resources should help you out a lot, but if they don't, please feel free to reach out via the chat and Discord, and I'll do my best to help you out.